Pop Geeks viewers. My name is Adam Pope. I am one of the movie reviewers here at popgeeks.com. I've been with the site for several years and I've really enjoyed my opportunity to check out some unique filmmaking. But occasionally I'm also given the assignment to interview some folks who have been involved and really left their mark on the film industry. Yes, and today's interview definitely fits that bill. I got a chance to have a discussion about the career of a gentleman named Donald Mowat, which might be a name you don't recognize, but I promise you his filmography is very familiar to all of us. As you can see, I'm a bit of a film nut here, and I was able to take him through some more obscure parts of his work over the years. He had been involved in film and television since the 80s, been nominated for multiple awards, so I'm very excited to bring you that today. So let's get into it. First off, I wanted to kind of talk to you about this here because, you've been involved in many large-scale projects, especially recently, but certainly all eyes are always on the next Marvel movie or series. They maybe see a house style sometimes in the writing, but did you feel like you had freedom in using these, skills you've gained over so many years, of being able to use that creativity on Moon Knight when it came to the makeup and the hair and all of that?
Yeah, I mean, it's actually really interesting you ask me because I did. I'd worked only once before in Marvel on a Spider-Man, going in as just a personal, but I really did. I brought a lot of ideas, and I'm a little OCD, and as people are, who and I went in but Oscar, I gave ideas, and everyone was very open to it. I brought examples. I was using things like The Tenant and Spider and One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and everybody was very open to it. And a lot of the crew were newer people, as they are on streaming, and a younger crew, I should say, not newer, but excuse me, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I suddenly turned into the older person going, oh, we're talking about films from 30 years ago they never heard about. But I think people respected that, and Benson and Moorhead and Mohammed, everyone were really open to ideas, doing contact lenses for Oscar and Asylum, changing Ethan's look with the wig and the mustache. Everyone was open to it.
That's great. Well, and speaking of which, because it's very interesting, right? In this case, Oscar Isaac is playing two different characters who look nearly identical. And I noticed you made slight changes also with the hairstyles to differentiate Mark Spector from Stephen Grant. So coming up with those like subtle choices that seem to really, maybe represent the theme of the story in large part. Is that still fun for you, finding those little nuances?
Well, I think for the hair, we had a big team, and Tim Nolan did Oscar's hair. That's a kind of his normal hairdresser in the real world. I mean, it was interesting for me because it's sometimes bringing people from the commercial world or red carpet or in a press into this is a little harder. But it worked. I mean, and he was able to pull it off. I always worry that the real world of hair and makeup doesn't transfer into the cinematic world. But he did a good job, and it worked really well. But yeah, we wanted to have subtle changes that Oscar, look, he's the same guy, isn't he? And that's what people forget. You can't suddenly part the hair on a different side. You can't grow a beard. So you have to look like you've been through something, but you can, in the course of some anxiety or some catastrophic thing in the course of the day, you're sweaty, you're vomiting, you're nauseous. That's what I was going for.
Now I'm very, as you can see from my background here, very into the world of movies, and I've appreciated a lot of your work over the years. One in particular, just go back to some of your earliest work. There was a movie called Junior. I think it went by Hot Water as well. I've seen this.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I know. 1985, right? Was it a rite of passage, essentially, for every aspiring makeup artist in the 80s? You had to cut your teeth on a slasher film.
I think I do. I think so. I think you have to do it. I think you have to do one of those where, I don't know, I think we faked the time card. I can't remember. It was so bad, it was good. But you learn a lot. And I do think you have to work on one of those. And if you look at a lot of the makeup artists in the business, all of them have those titles, every single one of them. If you look at people who have they all have these obscure, titles of movies. You go, oh my God. But we all worked on one or two of them, that's for sure.
Yeah. Now, another one, not quite as obscure, because to a certain generation, this was a big production. It was kind of a big promotion for you, was in 1987 with Captain Power and the Soldiers of the Future.
Yeah.
So I'm
Whoa.
right here. I've got my video cassette.
Oh my God, you
Just
do.
a beautiful thing here. Now, you actually, this is kind of a big deal. You became the head of the department for the series. How did you become involved in that particular series?
Wow, it makes me a bit sad. It's very nostalgic. So when I came up in the business, I started working with such a great group of people. And there's really, when you're young and new, I worked with a production designer because back then, way back then, often the production designer hired all of us, costume, makeup, hair, everybody. Production designer did it. Susan Longmire. And she called me, or somebody told her to call me. And I got the job because Ivan Lynch, who was a hair guy, he said, yeah, get Donald Mowat because he's blah, blah, blah. And then I met her and she recommended me, and Sherry McMorrin did the costumes. It was a great time. It was really tough because didn't know a lot of stuff either. I might have been in over my head, one could say. But at the same time, we did some really fun work. And it was 26 episodes. With some great people, some very nice actors. And I still know a couple of those people.
Oh, wow.
I still know a couple of people I've run into over the years. And it's really remarkable. Some of the actors, many have died and passed away. But I was a kid. I was really, I don't know, I can't even remember how old I was. I was very young. But I have great fond memories of shooting that and what we did in green screen. It was state of the art,
Yeah, the computer animation, like just all the special effects of that. And outside of all the razzle dazzle of that stuff, you were nominated for a Daytime Emmy for Outstanding Achievement in Makeup, like you're saying, as a kid. That shows your talent very early on.
24, I can't remember. Yeah, it was really amazing. And the show didn't come back, and I was really devastated. Because we left everything there, I remember, so I don't have a lot of the stuff. And I finally just let go of, in a locker room, I had pictures, and we finally shredded it all because I thought, oh, come on, who are you kidding? You got to let it go. And
some of us out there, we collect those things, but
I
that's so
wish
great
I'd
that you have
known.
fond memories. Yeah.
You know what? I kept it for so long. David Hemblin just died last year, and he was a nice man. He was a great actor too. Tim McNeil, he's still around. Peter McNeil. Yeah, I have very fond memories, and the people that worked on it.
Now, another one I'm curious is, as we move into the 90s, is a very fun movie that maybe not getting a lot of attention these days, but If Looks Could Kill, with Richard Grieco.
You are killing me. That movie made me want to leave the business. That movie.
Really? I was wondering, because it's a big budget, Warner Brothers production. Was that very different from kind of the TV work you'd been doing and some small film stuff up to
I
that
felt
point?
very protected on Captain Power because Susan Longmire and everybody looked out for me. Like, she helped me. I didn't know how to do a purchase order. I didn't know how to do that. She showed me how to do that. I knew how to do the time cards. I had a crew on not a big crew. One of my people on Captain Power, Judy Murdoch, is Will Smith's makeup artist now.
Oh, neat.
And then, as I said, we had a lot, but then when I went to If Looks Could Kill, a lot of the people have passed away that were on that. And I still stay, Linda Hunt, I still see. But yeah, I went there and it was suddenly a big movie with like really tough producers. And the biggest thing, this is what I remember, that caused nothing but drama, nothing but trouble, was Richard Grieco's eyebrows, because he cut them. And I took never-ending heat from the producers and the director. William Deere, who didn't like me very much. I didn't like him either, so that's fair as fair. He wasn't very nice. I love the girl, Gabrielle Anwar. I thought she looked very pretty. But that was the days of studios really overseeing the makeup and like really dictating. And I didn't understand, because I've been on Captain Power where everybody was so nurturing. And suddenly I was on a studio movie where everybody was so mean. And I got through that film. Roger Rees was lovely, Linda Hunt. They were real actors. And I was around a lot of non-actors. And Richard Grieco, he was a nice guy. But his eyebrows. Can you
I was going to
believe
say,
it?
as a man of ample eyebrows myself, I think I can relate there. Jumping forward a little bit here to 2001. Now, I know you're talking about how you kind of come in as the personal makeup artist for a lot of these actors. Daniel Craig, you've done a lot of work with, and Mark Wahlberg
Yeah.
for a long period there. And so, in particular, we're talking about special effects makeup being a big part of Tim Burton's Planet of the Apes, but you were just working with Mark, right? So did you feel like you were missing out at all by mainly applying makeup to a human and not the ape makeup? Or were you happy to let Rick Baker just handle most of that?
Well, I mean, I was kind of in awe because it was Rick Baker, obviously, and I met a lot of people there, that I knew. I mean, Bill Corso and Kevin Haney and all these remarkable people who are still around. And no, I kind of liked what I was doing. I mean, um, I, yeah, I liked it. I loved, it was a great film. It was a great experience. It was a big Hollywood. You don't make those movies anymore. They would never make that today.
Oh yeah, the production design alone on that, it's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a different time and place.
I do have to ask you about another film that is a personal favorite of mine, and that when I saw your name attached, I was so very excited, and that is Rockstar.
Me
Sorry.
too. One of my favorite. I'm so glad. Okay, that is what I tell people. That's the last time making a movie was really fun.
Oh, I love to hear that. So did you come in as a fan at all of that era of metal, the hair metal or anything? Nothing like that. Okay.
No, Mark and I, we were doing Perfect Storm at Warner Brothers. And Mark said, read the script. It was called Metal God. And I thought that was a better title. And I read it and I went, wow, this is good. And I saw some concepts and I thought Mark would be great in this part. And he was good in the part.
Yeah, no, he applies a lot of makeup himself in character as part of that. Did you coach him at all on how to apply it?
And Mark was great. We had such a good time. That movie was so much fun. We had such a good time. We partied. That's when people still smoked on the set. I'm sorry. I mean, I know, hashtag don't smoke, don't do anything. But it's when it was fun. I'm sorry. Jen Aniston was so much fun. Oh my God.
That makes me happy to hear. I love that so much. My first website I ever built was a fan site dedicated to Steel Dragon, the fake band from that film. Like, that's how much I was into
all
it.
those guys, Jason Bonham, and we had so much fun. I can't even tell you. Went up to Seattle, everybody crashed everybody's room. Jen Aniston would like knock on the door, room service, and they'd crash. It was such a different time.
Oh, that's wonderful. Well, I close it out here because I know we're getting short on time. I have to talk about, again, some of your more recent achievements, especially the many, nominations and honestly more awards that were deserved for the production of Blade Runner 2049. I saw that in theaters. I watched it over and over again once I, brought it home on Blu-ray, and continue to watch it now on HBO Max. It's just a fantastic film. But with such a heavy just design aesthetic in general in that film, what was your pre-production process like on that? Just trying to get everything planned out for all those characters in all those different settings.
And well, it was daunting, but I had a lot of help and assurance from Roger Deakins and his wife James. They made me really feel like this will be good. We're all nervous. We're all Denis. Everybody, as I called Denis, going, "Why am I doing this movie?" It was overwhelming. I was really scared, and we all were. And so it was great. We came up with lots of looks. It was daunting, but you have to face it. And fear is the mind killer, as they say. But fear really is the mind killer. So you have to face it. And that's what I did on Blade Runner. Very much alone, I have to say. I think that's what happens when you do what I do. You have your team, but sometimes the team don't take some of the hits for you. And sometimes you are alone, where you kind of feel at the end of the day, it was Roger and James and Denis, and going to them to say, I don't know what to do, or what should we do here? And what a great cast. And Dune was like that as well,
Yeah, and I have a question. Just again, as I plan to watch it many more times, in the makeup design itself, I wonder if there are any tells or Easter eggs for the replicants. Did you, in your mind, plan something that would give them away if an audience member was keeping an eye out for something?
No, because you know what? I don't think about it that much. I think that I'm really boring that way. People sort of go, really? Because I love Blade Runner, Ridley Scott's Blade Runner so much. And I still use it as reference for so many films. And, you know, it's different. It's Blade Runner and ours is ours. And Dune was Dune. And I look at it that way as, you know, different interpretations. And when I went to work on Blade Runner, there were things I wanted to try, but I thought, yeah, but if I do that, it looks too much like Daryl Hannah. And at the time, Daryl Hannah, that makeup was really spectacular, but I don't think it would hold up today.
Yeah,
I don't
definitely
think,
a different era.
I think it's a fair thing to say. It's like when you look in your wardrobe and pull out a jacket like your mother bought you, and you look at it now going, would you wear that? No, it doesn't mean her intentions weren't good. It's just, it doesn't fit today. That's fair, isn't it?
Absolutely. And just last question here. Again, we talked about how obviously, you get these top tier actors that are requesting you by name to work with them, be their personal makeup artist and all those things. Do you feel like longevity in this business and to get to where you've gotten thus far, I mean, just in demand on these large scale projects, is it as much personality as it is skill ultimately?
I think very much. I mean, there's some people who are brilliant. They're absolutely brilliant. I couldn't even be in the same room in terms of the level of their skill, but their personalities suck. And a bit like doctors, not that we're the same, not even, you know how doctors sometimes have terrible person. And you think, how did you get through this? But they know how to look after you and save your life. And there are makeup and hair and different people who do brilliant work, but you wouldn't want them sitting next to you anywhere. Bad personalities, not people. And there are other people whose work is maybe not the greatest and maybe not the most refined, but their skills are impeccable and they're easy. And people like having them around. And I think sometimes that goes a long way.
I think that must be the case, especially the hours and hours that of so many of these
Yeah,
performers have to spend in the
yeah,
chair. You want to have a nice
absolutely.
conversation. You want to have that good vibes, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
well, wonderful. Well, again, just thank you so much for your time today. I'm glad I got a chance to speak with you again,
My
especially about
pleasure.
Rockstar. Just warms my heart that you
Oh,
enjoyed it as much as you
I'm
did.
so happy to hear it. And when I talk to Mark, I mean, I always stay in touch with him. When I think that he's 50 now, it just makes me laugh. I just had, he'll be 51. I just killed June. Yeah. He will be June 5th. He will be 51. To think I can't get past it. He was just a kid when we made that. So I love that you loved it because I loved it. And I miss those days very much. Yes, I do.
Well, that was a fun discussion, right? I think I may have surprised Mr. Mowat there with some of the deep cuts from my video collection he was probably not expecting to bring up. There were a whole bunch of other listed items on his IMDb, and I wanted to bring up a few of them here just because we didn't have time to discuss it, but he worked on Sharon Lois and Bram's Elephant Show, but then he also worked on 8 Mile with Eminem, so that's a real juxtaposition there of films. And he obviously worked with Daniel Craig as his personal makeup assistant on Cowboys and Aliens, if you remember that film with Harrison Ford, and many, many others. So I really recommend that you check out his filmography. I'm telling you, many of these films you have already seen many, many times, I am sure. But thanks again to the folks here at popgeeks.com for giving me the chance to have that experience and many more to come, I'm sure. So keep your eyes peeled and stay subscribed here on YouTube. And thank you very much for watching.